So, you are having a conversation with someone you trust. They are leaning in, nodding at the right moments, and mirroring your body language. You feel seen. You feel understood. But deep down, you feel a strange buzz. Something feels slightly off, yet you cannot point to a single aggressive act. That is the point. The most effective manipulators do not look like villains. They look like your best friend, your most supportive colleague, or a partner who just wants the best for you. Dark psychology does not begin with a shout. It begins with a whisper that sounds like your own internal monologue. It works because it is designed to bypass your logic and speak directly to your insecurities. As Machiavelli famously suggested, it is better to be feared than loved, but the ultimate power lies in being loved while you secretly control the narrative. Most people are walking through a fog of social influence they don't even realize exists. If you've ever left a conversation feeling exhausted, guilty, or strangely small, you haven't just had a bad interaction. You've likely been targeted by a system of psychological erosion. Let's look at the patterns. 1. The burden of constant explanation. Have you ever found yourself in a circular argument where you're defending your character against something you didn't even do? A skilled manipulator will take a minor observation and twist it into a moral failing on your part. They do not attack your argument, they attack your right to have one. In psychology, this is often a form of shifting the goalposts. Every time you provide a logical answer, they move the requirement for your innocence just a bit further away. Friedrich Nietzsche spoke about the will to power and how individuals use morality as a cloak for control. By forcing you to constantly explain your intentions, they are training you to seek their approval. You become the defendant in a trial where they are the judge, the jury, and the victim. The disturbing part is that the more you explain, the more power you give them. Each explanation provides them with more data on your triggers, your values, and your breaking points. They aren't listening to understand you. They are mapping out the architecture of your mind. 2. The rhythm of intermittent reinforcement. This is the most addictive tactic in the human repertoire. It is the same mechanism used in slot machines and social media algorithms. The manipulator alternates between intense affection and cold withdrawal without a clear reason. One day, they are the center of your world. The next, they are met with a wall of silence or subtle disdain. This creates a state of cognitive dissonance. Your brain, seeking to resolve the tension, works overtime to figure out how to get the reward of their affection back. B.F. Skinner's research on operant conditioning proved that subjects work hardest when the reward is unpredictable. In a relationship, this creates a trauma bond. You start to view their basic kindness as a high-value prize rather than a standard expectation. You aren't being loved, you are being trained to perform for scraps of validation. If you're enjoying this deep dive into the hidden mechanics of human behavior, take a second to subscribe and hit the like button. It helps ensure these insights reach those who might need them most. Now, let's go deeper. 3. The weaponization of your own empathy. Dark psychology relies on the fact that decent people assume others are decent too. A manipulator will often lead with a confession. They tell you about their childhood trauma, their past betrayals, or their deep-seated fears. This is not vulnerability. It is a strategic strike. By sharing a secret, they trigger the psychological law of reciprocity. You feel an unconscious pressure to trust them back, to lower your guard, and to forgive their future transgressions. Robert Cialdini, a leading authority on persuasion, identified reciprocity as a fundamental human drive. We hate feeling like we owe someone. When a manipulator gives you their vulnerability, they are essentially opening a credit line in your mind. Later, when they treat you poorly, you'll excuse it because you know what they've been through. They haven't earned your trust, they've hijacked your conscience. 4. Mirroring that feels too perfect. We are naturally drawn to people who are like us. This is why a manipulator will often become a chameleon. If you like certain music, suddenly they're fans. If you have a specific political leaning, they echo your views with even more passion. This goes beyond common interests. It is a calculated mimicry of your core identity. In social psychology, this is known as the chameleon effect. But in dark psychology, it's used to bypass your natural skepticism. Carl Jung explored the concept of the persona, the mask we wear for the world. A manipulator doesn't just wear their own mask, they wear yours. They reflect your values back at you so you feel like you found a soulmate. But pay attention to the seams. If someone agrees with everything you say and validates every whim, they aren't your twin. They are building a cage out of your own preferences. True connection requires friction. If there is no friction, there is no person there, just a mirror. 5. The creation of emotional confusion over direct conflict. Most people prefer a clean fight to a messy peace. Manipulators know this. Instead of telling you they are angry, they will use passive-aggressive silence, forgetting important dates, or subtle sighs of disappointment. When you ask what's wrong, they say, "Nothing, I'm just tired." But their body language says something else entirely. This is a deliberate attempt to keep you in a state of hypervigilance. You begin to overanalyze their every move, trying to decode their mood. Sigmund Freud wrote extensively on the unconscious and how we project our internal states onto others. By remaining ambiguous, the manipulator forces you to project your own fears onto them. You start apologizing for things you haven't done just to break the tension. They haven't won a debate. They've won control over your peace of mind. Control is invisible when it feels like you are the one trying to fix the problem. 6. Subtle isolation through concern. A dangerous manipulator will rarely tell you to stop seeing your friends or family. That would be too obvious. Instead, they will plant seeds of doubt. They might say, "I noticed the way your sister talked to you. It felt a bit disrespectful. Are you sure she has your best interests at heart?" Or, "I love how much you work, but I worry your boss is taking advantage of your kindness." On the surface, this looks like protection, but beneath the surface, it is the systematic removal of your support network. They want to be the only filter through which you view reality. Erich Fromm, in his work on the fear of freedom, noted that humans often trade their independence for a sense of security. The manipulator offers you a false security, but the price is your connection to the outside world. They don't want to protect you. They want to be the only person you have left to turn to. 7. The erosion of your boundaries through humor. This is the final and most insidious sign. It usually starts with a joke at your expense. If you get offended, you are told you're too sensitive or that you can't take a joke. This is a test. They're checking to see how much of your territory they can occupy before you push back. If you accept the joke, they push a little further next time. Slowly, your boundaries are not broken, they are dissolved. Arthur Schopenhauer discussed the ego and how individuals seek to diminish others to elevate themselves. By masking their attacks as humor, the manipulator avoids accountability. If they can make you doubt your right to be offended, they have effectively dismantled your self-defense mechanism. You stop trusting your feelings and start trusting their labels. The most unsettling realization is that these tactics work best when you feel safe. We think manipulation is a series of grand gestures, but it is actually a series of microscopic concessions. It is the slow surrender of your intuition in favor of someone else's narrative. As Daniel Kahneman points out in his research on cognitive biases, our brains prefer the path of least resistance. It is easier to believe the manipulator's lies than to face the terrifying reality that someone we care about is intentionally harming us. but awareness is the only antidote. Once you see the architecture of the trap loses its power. Dark psychology thrives in the dark, in the unsaid, the implied, and the repressed. When you name the tactic, you break the spell. You are not too sensitive, you are not crazy. You are likely seeing exactly what is happening, and your discomfort is your psyche's way of trying to save you. The goal of understanding these signs is not to become paranoid, it is to become unshakable. It is to integrate your own shadow, as Jung would say, so that you recognize the darkness in others before it consumes you. Psychological freedom begins the moment you stop asking for permission to trust your own eyes. The people who truly belong in your life will never make you feel like you have to lose yourself to keep them. They will respect your boundaries, they will be consistent in their affection, and they will never use your empathy as a weapon. The fog only clears when you decide to stop walking deeper into it. Look at the patterns, trust the knot in your stomach, and remember, the most powerful thing you can do in the face of a master manipulator is simply to remain yourself, unfiltered, unburdened, and awake.